Are you recording?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yes, I am recording now.
Hello, comrade.
Hello.
Would you say you're more socialist or capitalist?
I would say I'm probably a capitalist.
Okay. That took a minute, but it was worth it.
The reasoning that I have behind that is that I don't think that what we have right now is capitalism. I think we have cronyism,
Yes.
you know?
It
And if we
is.
had capitalism, I think it would be relatively okay, but we don't. We have crony imperialism.
We have people who live out their dreams in real life, and it's their version of what
Pinto.
capitalism is. And other
Yeah.
things. This is not a political podcast.
Yeah. Just call me cocksucker69 XX. Just call me Zipkus, bro. Just call me Zipkus, actually.
How do you want
Are
to.
you Monty?
Yeah, I am Monty.
Okay.
How do you want to
Ha-
start this? Do you want to introduce ourselves and therefore introduce anime and manga that we like? Or do you want to go into the movie and then we do that afterwards?
that's a good question.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
I'm actually gonna look up the movie right now for reference.
Yeah, sounds good. I would have the actual movie playing, but the reason we went to theaters is because you couldn't find the Japanese version online, right?
I mean, also, I just want to support.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, no, realistically, like, I just want to support the movie, man.
We don't like get them a lot.
Yeah, no, especially, like, in the US. Like, I want this to become more of a thing. Like, I want anime to become more socially acceptable.
Yeah, well, it started out with like VHS tapes getting overwritten,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went to Toonami.
Blu-rays. Yeah, no, it went to Toonami and like Blu-rays that you could get
Yeah,
special order.
but yeah,
Now we have like Crunchyroll and like a bunch of other stuff.
yeah. Well, it's like most of the series is like free to watch, right?
Yeah, on Crunchyroll, if I think you get it like with a week delay, which is pretty nice, honestly.
Yeah, and then I mean everyone's inside. It's Corona, so it's like perfect. No movies are coming out. This one gets a limited release. It panders to people like us,
Mm-hmm.
little dweebuses.
And it's also a good movie.
It is a pretty good movie. Um, so we're talking about Demon Slayer, the Kimenetsu no the Mugen Train, Demon Slayer Infinity Train. That's the English title. The other one, this is the second anime movie I've seen in theaters. The other one was the My Hero Academia one, the one that came out in like 2019 before the COVID thing, I think.
I want to say I think Your Name was probably the last movie I saw, and I didn't even get to see that in theaters. Like I really didn't even have the option to like go, even though I wanted to.
Yeah.
Which is honestly that's like a real shame, because I would spend money on that, but I don't. I like. There's not even the ability to.
Do you want to take it away,
Yes, I would like
Zipkus?
to take away. Oh, and speaking of, I'm Zifkus. Hello. I've been a weeb for about 10 years now. Had to think about that.
I've been a weeb since 2005 when I first read Shonen Jump. It was my brother's. And then I took all of his books, and then he lost interest in it because I guess I was taking it all up. So I sucked up his energy.
I guess he just gave up on it. Who knows?
No, he stopped doing like we stopped sharing a lot of common interests like as he grew into his 20s. I guess he's just grown into an adult, and I'm still this man
I don't know
child.
if I honestly like really believe in adulthood.
Yeah,
You know?
It would be nice to get anime more into the mainstream. Manga is like besting Marvel comic sales. There's just more
The art's
variety
just also
and
better.
creativeness. The art is better, even though people overwork themselves to death. Rip Mira.
Yeah, honestly. I honestly just hope that someone almost carries the flame with Berserk into like his wishes.
Yeah, Berserk is a manga that it's like one of the
Even
best.
if it's
Probably better than Naruto. Definitely better than Naruto, at least in art style. And the guy overworked himself to death, or I don't know, maybe he was just
no,
sick.
he was just sick for a long time. His like chapter releases were very slowed. I was like reading him back in senior year of high school, so it's been like almost 6 years now.
I don't remember when I started. I think I definitely read the manga before I saw the anime.
Yeah, same.
Did you watch the 2016 Berserk?
I did, and while the CG in that show isn't impeccable, I think it like actually paved the way for the Demon Slayer movie and like Demon Slayer the anime, because no one was experimenting with it. And you know what? It did not look as bad as people give it credit for, like, looking as bad.
I couldn't get through the whole
You
thing.
couldn't get through the whole thing? Damn,
No.
was it just that bad?
I mean, I already knew what happened. I was caught up, so it's not like I needed it. I just thought, oh, this might be another way to
Yeah.
enjoy it, and it wasn't.
That's fair. See, one thing that I feel lacks about, let's say, Berserk as a medium when you like watch it versus you read it, is that Kentaro Miura, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
He just like painted or drew beautiful landscapes and beautiful backgrounds, and everything was just so picturesque. Like it was his own painting, like every panel. So there was like that much emphasis on every single page. Like it was like looked like a day's work basically, right? So I feel like translating that into an anime where you have something so like picturesque just from like individual scenes, that there's no way to transform that into.
Do you think Mira's death, which definitely boosts sales, will lead to a more funded, better handled adaptation?
See, I feel like if they're gonna make a Berserk adaptation, they need to start from the beginning again.
It's not as tough as a video game movie, but it's pretty tough.
Another problem with making Berserk an anime, right, is that it's
Yeah.
gonna need to be censored, dude. Like inevitably, to like be Berserk the way Berserk is, it needs to be censored.
Well, that's the fallacy, isn't it? This recent series of the 2016 and 17, because they made 2 seasons, that was on Netflix, and like that's the most mainstream you can get so far, and it was awful. So unless they put the old seasons on there, but that's like old.
In a similar vein, how do you feel about Dorohedoro, considering we're talking about CG a lot?
I only watched a couple episodes, but it didn't seem so intrusive. It actually seemed to work with the art
I agree
style.
with you.
It's all about hiding. It's all about hiding the blind spots or the, just the PS2 graphics, PS1 graphics at some point.
I actually felt like it enhanced it rather than.
Which back into Demon Slayer, that's what it does so well, is that it uses like 2D animation, like painting. Like it sort of textures over the actual 3D and makes it all pretty when they're slashing their swords, because this is medieval Japan when they still have the samurai, or I'm pretty sure it's the Edo period. Right?
Yes, I believe so. Edo period Japan.
So they got their samurai swords and the spiritual monks, all that shit.
What's it called? Speaking of, like, I just want to highlight a specific moment, actually, in the movie's CG. And I bet you can point to this, too, because I remember, like, all of us talking about this, like, at the time when we saw it, was just, like, how good the train looked. Like, just the outer image of the train going on the tracks. If you remember that.
I remember. It was like close to looking a little bit too like claymation, but it worked.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. Like, that's how good it looked. Was like,
I wish I could pull up clips from it. When did it come out? When do we see it in theaters?
it came out in fall 2020. But yeah, we saw it a month ago. Fucking year-long delay between releases, man.
The plot is it's a demon squad, and Tanjiro, Nezuko, the sister of Tanjiro, and she's also a demon. She got turned into a demon, and he's trying to turn her back. That's why he joined the demon squad. But Tanjiro and his demon slayer friends, they board the train in order to kill a demon who is on the train, or they're going to a place where the demon is. I'm not really clear on that.
Basically,
Did they know that the demon was on the train?
There's a string of disappearances, like, on the train specifically, is what they're told. And so then they're told to go on the train.
Why are they all sitting together?
Why are they all sitting together?
Wouldn't they, like, be across the
Wouldn't they want to be across the train? Well, they didn't sense any demons at the time.
Oh, I
so
guess.
they figured that they were gonna wait for it to show up, you know.
Yeah, well, they fall asleep anyways.
They do. Well, demons attack. They were cursed, man. They were cursed.
Well, the point is that they fall asleep. The movie, like, it's a slow introduction. They fall asleep and then they fight, not they fight and then fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. And they have to fight against their dreams, and Nezuko is the MVP.
What do you think about that kind of, like, facing your own fears, hallucinations, scarecrow stuff?
You mean, like, living, like, a dream paradise? Or, like...
Yeah, well, it's different, because sometimes it's a nightmare, and you can't kill yourself, because if you die in the game, you die in real life. And then other times it's like, you don't want to wake up. But the thing is, you have to turn away your friends and family who are there, who were dead in real life, but they're real in the dream.
Yeah. That's tough. And you saw how, like, difficult a time that Tanjiro had with that, specifically in the movie.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be so sure of killing myself. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, I know.
But,
like, you wouldn't be so sure that's the answer. The fact that he had the faith to do that is, like... I feel like that shows, like, a lot of his character, you know?
Yeah, well, he's all about faith.
Mm-hmm.
He's not exactly religious, but he's got the earrings.
Yeah, he's got the earrings.
And I guess that's supposed to be like a warding off demon, kind of like talisman paper.
See,
thing.
actually, what I think that... Basically, while wearing those earrings... almost killed, like, Q. You saw, like, the introduction of Rengoku, right? Like, what was your like opinion of him when you first saw him?
Rengoku?
Yeah.
Goku.
The red-haired flame Hashira?
Oh, Kyojiro. Sorry, that's how I knew him. Pretty cool. You were asking me what I thought about him?
No, like, when he was introduced, though. Like, his introduction scene, he's, like, this weird dude just being, like, screaming fucking delicious, like, in a train, you know?
See, that's the problem, Zach. I didn't see the beginning with you. Because we were 15 minutes late. Because we thought that the advertisements were going to be that long, and they're not anymore, because COVID fucking killed that shit.
Yeah, it did. Unfortunate.
So I did not see the opening part where he says delicious, but I'm sure his behavior is outside the social norm, and that's the joke. Is that he's quirky, he's saying things out loud that he shouldn't.
That everyone on the train is looking away from him or staring at him because of how crazy he is.
He's a happy-go-lucky guy. Because he doesn't give up, and that's a staple of all anime. Is that don't give up, keep going, work hard.
Determination, right?
And I feel like a lot of Japanese people that watch anime they watch these scenes where it's like, oh, I got to do my best too, and then they work themselves to death. Also, Zipkiss, do you prefer Japanese or, sub or dub?
It depends on the show. A majority of the time, I prefer the sub. There are a few exceptions, that the dub is pretty good, if not better. The ReZero dub is honestly pretty decent. The Cowboy Bebop dub is better. There are some dub fanboys of this one, but I'm a fan of the sub more than the dub.
I just think if you're the best freakout scenes come from foreign languages because you can tell they're just absolutely through the fucking wall. You just don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
You just understand they're pissed. It just sounds funnier.
It's true.
What would you say your favorite scene of this movie was?
My favorite... I would say, actually, I have a couple favorite scenes. Like, if we're talking about, like, single scene, or, like, group of scenes, the fight between Rengoku and the upper six guy, I'm trying to find his name right now.
Akaza.
Akaza. Yeah, the fight between Rengoku and Akaza is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, the Hashira, which is like the highest Demon Slayer rank. So it's like it's an assassination attempt on Rengoku.
Mm-hmm.
I seriously just think about actual Goku when you say that name. Like the red Goku. It's fucking me up.
Rengoku, bro.
But yeah, that was definitely the best scene. When he shows up and, that's when the real action comes. Because even though the movie is about the train demon and all that, Enmu, the guy who puts the deep sleep on everyone, he was not very... He was the red herring.
Yeah, he was so uninspired.
That was not the real danger.
What's it called? But also, like, I gotta say, like, of his character, like, his powers were interesting. But, like...
His powers were interesting, but they've been done
before. And he was, like, so uninspired. Just, like, he was so not powerful compared to what, like, a lower 13 should be, even as the train.
Yeah, and this is a guy who got, like, demon blood, which, like, boosts their power. It's steroids.
Yeah, so this guy is a lower 13, the same dude that, like, almost, like, killed Tanjiro and was able to kill, like, other high-level demons with, like, his spider webs relatively easily. Like, he cut Tanjiro's sword. Right? I don't know if you remember that from the actual show.
No, I do.
So this guy, like, cuts Tanjiro's sword with a web, and he has a bunch of other demons that are subservient to him because of just his willingness to kill them if they don't, like, play family with him. And he's so fucking deluded. And he's absolutely scary. But I do appreciate, like, how empty, like, and I think the movie does a good job of, like, showing, like, how empty and hollow their victory is. Like, it really feels like something's up. It definitely is, like, it doesn't feel like it's the end at all. And I think the movie does a good job of that. And I think part of that has to do with, like, how uninspired that the first villain is, so maybe that's character design, but I would have liked him to be a little bit better.
Well, you can't always get what you want. But I thought it was cool that the way they transitioned from, the train to just... Obviously, you gotta destroy the train. That's the flashy way. That's a cool way. But they severed the neck of the train.
Yeah.
Like, it was anatomically correct as far as how a demon train could operate.
Yeah, no, that was pretty interesting. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's another thing, by the way. The demon train, like, controlled all the compartments, could have, like, compressed the body to kill all the people inside, and yet he got steamrolled.
I know, he was so weak. That's what I'm saying, he was so weak. You mean to tell me that this guy controls the whole train, right? And he can cause all of these things to attack people to appear out of anywhere, but he doesn't make it appear out of the ground and just instantly wrap around everyone's legs at the same time.
The train is literally his body, and he can't, like, even produce some stomach acid.
Just dissolve everybody.
And as much as I like anime, and as much as I like it for how deep and complex it can get, it's not that complex of a movie. It's just the fight scenes are so good.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, the comedy is relatively decent, I do have to say.
Comedy is relatively decent. It's a little, like, Japanese, so it's a little hard for the translators to get all the comedy through, unless you're, like, familiar with Japanese culture.
Yeah, but if you have seen anime before, which you're likely to have seen at least some if you've seen this movie, you'll probably be able to get some of the jokes. Most, I'd say. I don't think most of them are very hard. Maybe, like, him saying, like, tasty at the beginning, like, that was even weird for me, and I've, like, been a weeb for, like, 10 years. So.
You get used to it. It's an acquired taste.
But I also think, like, maybe, like, the whole idea is that's just supposed to be fucking weird. And so that, in which case, that's just good. Like, that's just, like, they honestly did a good job of making that weird. Can't fault them with that.
This is the highest grossing R-rated animated movie of all time.
R-rated?
Yeah.
Is it really only R-rated just because of, like, the end fight scene, I feel like?
That might be true. The amount of blood. I don't know how much blood you can show before it turns into R.
Yeah, no, I just mean, like, I feel like the end fight scene with, like, him getting, like, his guts ripped open, you know? I feel like that's kind of what goes into R.
Yeah, so we're getting into, like, actual spoiler. This is pretty much the only spoiler. Skip to 23:11.
Would you consider the fight between Rengoku and that demon a victory, like Tanjiro said? Or would you consider it?
No, definitely.
Yes, I agree with you too.
When the Hashira dies, I think that it pretty much was. It was like a split-second decision. Could have prevailed, could have died. That's like the nature of Mortal Kombat.
But also, Rengoku is so badass because he holds that dude's arms in place while they're inside his guts by tightening his fucking core.
Final stands are definitely the best part about anime.
No, but just like, dude didn't give up even when he was dead and knew he was dying.
I mean, the way that happens, and he's like holding it, it's basically like Harikari. Like it's in his stomach, and he's got to like persevere before slits the rest of him open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and while he may have died or perished, Rengoku accomplished his goal that he was like ultimately setting out to do. Like the reason why he fought in the situation. So
it was a win, and even though the demon was like, he was really insistent on, oh, you gotta fight me to your death, you gotta keep on fighting, and then he just tucks and run. You know, he was running like a little bitch. All demons are hypocritical.
All of them.
I don't think I've ever met a good demon.
I mean, I think that people are actually demons.
I don't think we're born with... Yeah, never mind. We are. We're born with evil.
I don't know if we're necessarily born with evil. Evil is learned.
We're born with, like, primate instincts.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you?
We perceive the evil.
You want me to tell you something? Rationality is evil.
Rationality. Well, but it's the truth. The truth of the reality of the situation is that it is not how you think. It follows a set of rules, some of which you can't comprehend, but it is the rules.
So, what did you think of... Yeah, but I actually totally agree with you. This movie was, like, relatively simple. I feel like it was mostly them enter the train, let's say, character development scenes of, like, what's happening in their dreams. Them escaping their dreams because of Nezuko. Then fighting the train demon, then fighting the next demon. Right? It can really be divided into those parts.
Yeah.
And those are all, like, simple, like, that's basically the whole plot of that scene. There are like smaller individual plots, but those are like the overall ones.
And despite the the main like train demon guy, he wasn't that strong, but I felt like everyone operated in like with their reach, their limit.
Okay, wait.
They were able to do exactly what as much as they needed to according to their rank.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think like this movie specifically felt more like a movie or a TV like episode?
Being that I have seen the show, it is technically a longer episode.
Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
and the plot doesn't even feel especially an important one. So, it definitely is just like a longer episode, and maybe that's just because I've seen like a lot of HBO Max, but that is the case.
Like I don't think that's like a bad thing, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't have that like whole movie spend like 20 minutes on like introduction expose. I mean, it does.
It doesn't really need it. It doesn't really need it.
It spends like 15 minutes doing that, but yeah, it doesn't feel like a movie. They don't have like movie introduction.
You can glean the whole plot of the movie from just looking at the description or watching the trailer. Probably. I haven't seen the trailer.
I don't know about from watching the trailer because I don't think they have like a Kaza in there.
But it's a simple plot.
It's really simple.
We are in a revenge tale. We're trying to destroy all the demons, so it's going to take more than 500 chapters, I imagine.
Yeah, so realistically, I give that plot of the movie, the specific episode's plot, I would give it like a 7 out of 10. I would say...
7
I would say like... However, I would say like all like the side stuff they do, which I wouldn't consider the plot, I would consider character development. While they're in the dream and slightly outside of it, like for example, right, the guy that enters Tanjiro's dream, he's led to Tanjiro's spiritual core by like Tanjiro's like incarnations of his spirit, and he's like blown away by like how beautiful like Tanjiro's soul and core are.
I wish he stayed there.
And
like he went back, but I wish he stayed inside. Like, I'm not gonna ever go to sleep, am I? I guess I'll just stay here and stay warm by the fire.
Yeah, exactly though. So like Tanjiro has like a little sun inside of him, and so his soul fills the other guy's soul with light, and he decides like not to attack him. Like that's I wouldn't consider that plot. I'd consider that like character development, because one that's like it shows just like how kind of a person Tanjiro is, and he really is.
He draws people towards him.
Yeah,
like a regular anime protagonist.
He's like I feel like a character, just like almost like a basic character trope. But it's always like wholesome to see like how every author like portrays like what their version of that would be, right?
For as repetitive as anime can get, I do like appreciate the new perspectives on it. That's what I always look for in my manga. Even if it's like the same kind of trope like isekai, as long as it has like a different perspective where it's like a parody. I'm down with
if it can make fun of itself, that's cool.
We'll get into our anime recommendations soon enough. I'm gonna eat dinner before that.
Higehiro. Did you watch Tensura season 2?
What's that?
Time I got reincarnated as a slime.
I don't care about watching that. I'll read it, but
big sad Monty.
It's probably the same thing.
It probably is.
It's pretty like faithful, as far as I remember. It just wasn't that memorable. Like, yeah, I could read this, and that's easier.
You should watch Higehiro though. Higehiro is like actually one of the best animated shows of the season. Like in terms of like raw animation, it is one of the best.
Well, maybe I'll transition. I was reading the manga.
And I do recommend, and like the intro music, wow, girly, pretty good. And also, I am a fan of drama romances. Dramas? I don't know how to say it anymore.
Fucking Amber Alert.
What?
There's an Amber Alert in the background.
Is there? I didn't get one.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna eat very soon, so let's just get the rest of this out of the way. Your overall thoughts on the movie?
Overall thoughts on the movie? The movie was great. Thinking of it as an episode, thinking of it as an episode. Episode is 10 out of 10. They do a great job of introducing Rengoku. There's amazing action scenes, good character development, like good like small, like let's say like side character development as they move on to like wherever their next goal is, and you have Tanjiro like now learning his path forward and like taking a step on towards figuring out where his like flame techniques come from.
Yeah, I thought it was really well paced, and the fact that we in this movie, it's just like another milestone that we have to meet this particular bad guy in the ranks again. It's just like setting up a bunch of power leveling. Like we have more people to look forward to before we get to the top, back to Mugen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's the main demon, Mugen. That's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's a pretty good transition. I haven't read the manga up to that point, so I don't know how like accurate it is. But for a person who has seen the show or read the manga, it's just another. It's something to please you before they get back to the second season, which they have announced. And if you're watching it for the first time, it's got some really cool artwork, and it's generally easy to understand if you watch the first 15 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to have to watch the whole show to understand after the first 15 minutes. You get in and then you realize what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I give it a 8 out of 10 as an episode, and I'd give it 7.5 out of 10 as a movie.
See,
but that's only because I had my issues with like the main villain.
That's fair enough. I wouldn't even call him the main villain though.
Well, but like the A plot.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Like if we're to separate this, after the train crashes, that's where the B plot starts. It's not the point of the movie.
Yeah. Like that's like the twist. It's not like what you bought the ticket for.
But definitely, I would say if you can't see this in theaters, this is a thing you would sort of binge. Like when the second season comes out, you watch the end of the first season, and then you watch the movie, and then you go straight into the first episode of the second season.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like a train. It goes. It chugs on.
See, I disagree with you though. I would say 10 out of 10 for the episode, 8 out of 10 for the movie. Because I feel like even with those 15 minutes, it's still like hard to get into it if you just haven't watched the movie. You're just like, if you're like the person who's like, what even is anime? Your only takeaway is, ooh, cool visuals.
Yeah, fair enough.
And action. But like that's really well done. So that's why I would call that like 8 out of 10. Because like at that point it's basically a Marvel movie, but with samurai swords.
Definitely.
Right? Like I would compare it to that because like the CG is really good.
I feel like it's better written than the Marvel.
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. So like when those get like 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s, like then I think calling this an 8 out of 10 is totally fair.
By the way, do you remember that scene in Inosuke's dream where he's mining with the midgets?
Yes.
I mean the little people.
The animal versions of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It was Tanjiro was the raccoon, and
so was Nezuko, I think. Or Nezuko was the squirrel, maybe. Tetsuhiko was a squirrel, I think.
You mean Zenitsu?
Oh yeah, Zenitsu.
Yeah.
Tetsuhiko is a guy in A
You know,
rom-com.
the problem with like reviewing this as a audio only, it's kind of hard to like. You don't remember the names of the characters. I feel. I mean, obviously they're very distinctive in the movie, so you'll understand it.
Yes.
But all I can say is these names that you have no like you can't remember them if you're not familiar with the terminology. So, you said 10 out of 10 as an episode. I say 8 out of 10.
Then what
I
episode?
forget
What
my
episode of this show would you call a 10 out of 10?
That guy with the bongos. Like the episode
Oh!
that they end that. I really liked that arc.
Okay, yeah, no, that was a good one. That was a good one. I do agree.
That's an episode they could have made a movie about. Like it's got the same kind of energy as this movie.
Yeah, it does.
Although it's grounded.
Well, I mean, I think the energy of that is like the same because of like the CG heavy style, but it being like so beautifully done, and just like the transitions between those, like the usage and the not usage, is so seamless.
Anyways, that was fun.
I think I'm gonna go pass out, Monty.
That sounds good, man.
I feel like in either case, you know, either looking for escapism or basically enjoying the medium itself, then... Oh, crap, I don't know where I'm going with this.
We're new to podcasting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know. I invited you on here because you're my friend and I value your opinion, not because you're meant for the theater.
Yes, yes.
I'm not trying to recruit you.
Um,
But if you want to be my Howard Stern to the whatever. Never mind.
how about I'll be the Rush Limbaugh to your Ted Cruz?
Brilliant.